Hello friends, this video is being created on teachers' demand. They wanted me to help them out with some ideas of the project work which can be done with the students. As you're already aware that in the CBSE's internal assessment scheme, there is project work which needs to be done for every term. So what I have put together in this video is the stepwise process of working towards a project. But what I have not done is to talk about a traditional project. In fact, what I'm going to tell you about in this video is project-based learning. We will explore in detail the concept of project-based learning. We will also differentiate between a traditional project and project-based learning. We will try to see what are the elements of a good project. We will also see how do we use differentiated instructions in PBL. We'll try to explore a lot of PBL resources which are already existing for different subjects and different grades. We will also see how do we integrate these project artifacts into the digital portfolio. And lastly, we'll discuss in detail one of the project. But this project is for kindergarten students. I've specifically chosen KG because generally we feel that for KG 1 and 2, it is very difficult to carry out a research-based project. So therefore, that has been included in it in detail. You will find that in this video, there are excerpts of the webinar which was conducted on project-based learning. So let's not waste any time and start immediately. So project-based learning is much different from our traditional way of doing the project. So let's see what is the difference between a traditional project and project-based learning. So first thing is that in traditional project, it is an add-on to the traditional instruction. The teacher teaches the topic the way it is taught. And then towards the end, the teacher says that, okay, now you convert this particular concept or thing into the form of a project. So generally, what we expect from our students is that once a particular chapter is finished or a concept is taken, we ask the children to research on it and then try to bring in some more material, take out some pictures and then stick it on the sheet of paper and put it all together and submit it as a project. But so in project-based learning, you will find that the learning is taking place while the children are working on their project. So the teacher is teaching and the project work is also simultaneously going on. Through the project, the children are trying to explore the concept a little more in detail. And we will try to understand a little more about project-based learning. This is just the basic that I'm talking to you. Then in a traditional project, the student follows the direction of the teacher. But in this case, it is driven by the student inquiry. So in the traditional project, the teacher will guide that, okay, you are supposed to be doing this. But in a project-based learning, it is the students who go ahead and drive the inquiry. So students are at the center. The focus in a traditional project is more on the product. What is the final outcome? But in project-based learning, the focus is not just on the product, but it is also on the process which has been carried out for this particular project. Then this is it. A traditional project is something which can be completed alone at home itself. But in project-based learning, there is collaboration which is required. There's teachers' guidance which is required from time to time. Generally, in the traditional project, we find that it does not have too much of practical application. But project-based learning is actually driven from practical application. It has a real-world context. It has the application in real life. And that is which makes all the difference. So whenever we are talking about a project-based learning, we have to see that we are taking up that kind of a project which has the relevance to their real life. Then the end result of the project is displayed in the classroom. So whatever is the project work which is there, that is displayed to the students inside the classroom. But in this case, you will find because it has relevance to the real world, it also has a real audience. So it will be, the end result will be shared with a chosen audience, public audience. You may be finding a little difficult to understand this at this moment, but once we go through the stepwise process of project-based learning, you will understand it completely as to how this is different from a traditional project. Most of the sources in this video has been taken from the Buck Institute of Education. A proper website is there, and I'll take you through this website towards the end of the video. Now, there are 7 essential project design elements which we are supposed to be understanding. That every project should have these design elements. So what are those design elements? First is challenging problem or a question. Your project will not begin until and unless you have some kind of a challenge, you have some kind of a problem, or you actually begin with a question. Your project begins with a question. And when there is a question, what are you supposed to do? You have to go ahead and do sustained inquiry. When we say sustained inquiry, means throughout the project, as the children are proceeding through the project, there is constant inquiry which is going on. And therefore, it is known as a research-based project because they are researching, they are inquiring, they are finding out answers. And then we have to see that it is authentic also. Authentic in the sense that it should be meaningful for the students. They should be able to see the application of it in the real life. Fourth, we have to see that it should have a student voice and choice, which means the students should be provided opportunity to be coming out with what they think about it, what is their opinion, what are their ideas. So the student voice is central over here. And also, they should be provided with the choice of how is it that they want to be presenting their project, in which form do they want to present it. We will be again discussing this also towards the end, a little more in detail. Then reflection. Throughout, when the children are working on a project, they have to keep reflecting as they are proceeding and reaching certain milestones. So as teacher-student team, you can decide what would be the milestones, various milestones for their project, and every milestone, let them reflect upon how is their progress, how are they proceeding, are they facing any kind of a problem or challenges, is it moving in the right direction? So these are the reflections which they have to continuously keep on doing. Then critiquing and revising. So because they're going to be working in groups, so at every stage, they should sit down together with whatever their findings are, and then they have to discuss it with the group members, critique over it, try to pull out whatever are the challenges and issues which they're facing, and then revising it based on whatever are the suggestions given from the friends or the peers or teacher. Finally, the last thing and most important thing is that they will come out with a public product. Now, this public product could be, it's not necessarily always that it has to be a machine that they have invented or they have designed. It could be some of the solutions which they have worked out. It could be a small awareness video finally which they have created to solve a particular problem. So the product could be, the nature of the product could be anything, but it has to have a product which is finally coming out from whatever research they have done. Only then you see it becomes meaningful and interesting for the students. So now that we have understood about the 7 important design elements of PBL, let us see what is the stepwise process of proceeding towards project-based learning. So now let's see what is the step-by-step process of PBL. So the first thing is that you need to have a question with you. One very solid, strong question has to be there, or a problem needs to be there. So think of a challenge or a problem or a big question, but please see that it should be related to the real life and meaning. Okay, so that's very important. That's the beginning, starting point. Then the second thing is you have to see that while the children are doing this project, what are those learning objectives that you are aiming at? Now, there are 2 kinds of objectives. One learning objective is directly related to your subject, which means that which conceptual knowledge are they going to acquire while they are doing this PBL. Okay, your cognitive objectives is something which will come over here. So you have to see that what objective is being fulfilled when the children are taking this PBL. So that's important. while you're framing, while you're creating your PBL model, you have to have your learning objectives very, very clearly stated. And second important thing is, what are those skills which the children will be enhancing in this entire process, or which skills are they going to employ? So you have to be putting that also in the form of learning objectives, right? So first thing, big question. Second thing, learning objectives, and what skills are they going to enhance? Now, the next thing is, while you're designing your PBL, how is it that you are going to introduce this to your students? So there has to be an entry event. Now, what is this entry event? Entry event is that you have to, bring your children or induct your children into PBL. That you can have any introductory video which will set them thinking, or there are some pictures which you would like to show them and ask them to contribute or think about it. It could be a story that you would like to tell. It could be a field trip that you would like to take them to first to initiate them into that thought. And then it could be some articles or some facts which are related to that problem which you would like to give, or simply just open it for brainstorming. Put your question there and open it for brainstorming, right? So anything, any of these things or anything more which comes to your mind, you have to design your entry event, because there is when you will make your children interested into doing that particular project. Okay. Then the next step comes is need to knows. Now, what are those things which the children should definitely know before they really set into this project, right? So here what happens is that within groups, you can form the groups of the students. Within their groups, they then discuss about, if this is a question, then what are those things which we need to know? To begin solving these questions, what are those important data, facts, figures, or things which we should definitely know before we embark into this project, right? So that comes as after your entry event. Then you have to see that children within their groups, they start working on finding the solutions to those need to know questions. All those questions which they have written, that these are the things which they want to know, they have to then collect the data. Based on that, they have to research upon and they have to analyze their data. And there is at the right point, and that depends upon you, what is the right point of your project, introduce an expert. Related to your project, try to bring in some expert who can interact with your students. Okay, so right now it could be a virtual expert. You can bring them to a Zoom meeting and let the students talk to that expert. So the expert brings in the real field knowledge to the students. Okay, then it's also important that you are telling them about the resources. Okay, what are those various resources? So you should know from where all the children will be gathering the data. You don't have to immediately tell them about things. Let them come inquire, and you just have to facilitate things for them. So you, at your own end, should have a lot of resources ready for that particular project. Then finally, what happens is that the children will then work upon the product. Okay, whatever solution they have come out with, so they have to now put it in the form of a product. Now, what kind of a product can they put? So children will come out with the creations of their own choice, okay, based upon how they would like to do it. It could be a small video, it could be a campaign, it could be a model that they design, some posters, newsletters, TV show, podcast, anything related to music, art, drama, combination of all of these things. It depends upon in which way would they like the product to be coming out. It also depends upon your project, that what is the kind of product which is expected. Okay, and then last, but it is very important, very, very important, that they have to do their presentation not just in front of the class, not just in front of you as a teacher or their peers. They have to do that presentation in front of the live audience for whom that solution matters, right? So you have to showcase their work, or the children should get the opportunity to showcase their work on at the right platform to the right kind of audience, right? So these are 10 very, very important points which we need to consider while we are doing PBL. This is the website, which is a huge
huge resource of PBL. Okay, so I'll just take you through this so that you know about all the aspects of how to explore this website. This is my PBL Works, and this is from the Buck Institute for Education, and they have uploaded right now. I'm there on their projects page. So if you come to this projects page, you will find that there are 32 different projects which are for English language. Then 7 for fine arts, 3 for physical education, 19 projects for mathematics, 22 for science, 19 for social science, and then STEM together included, and then different world languages. And then there are, it is also categorized based upon the grade levels. So whatever you want, and then within the English language teaching, it's about literature, international text, writing, speaking, listening, and so on. So it's also divided over here. Mathematics, and so you can just explore it on the basis. You can search out the topics which you want, and then as you see over here, like it's marking history and making history, right? So this is a social studies project. If you see shrinking our footprints, science and maths project, and so on. So it is also writing over here that what are the two things mixed together here, maths and English, making your own grade. How to do? So the question is written over here. Right in the beginning, there is a question you see. How can we as historians uncover and share stories about our community? And then shrinking our footprints, that's science and maths together, changing the world, one poem at a time, English language teaching. Now I'll just take you through any one of these. Now if you see starting a business, it's maths and social science together. How can we affect hunger in our community? Language teaching. Plastics, science and language teaching. In fact, language comes everywhere, right? So now if I just take you through any one of this, let's say the first one here, how much in detail the project has been planned, and this is what is expected from us also. This is for language, grades 9 to 12, okay? And it's, see over here, it's the, first of all, what's the project summary? What is that which you're expecting? So I'll just do it very quickly. So in this project, students create video montages of social justice poetry. Each student chooses a social justice poem and analyzes the elements of content and craft that make it powerful and effective. Students find or create accompanying images that enhance their selected poem's meaning and record an expressive oral performance of the poem. This is not just all. Further, also there is what is that which the teams are going to do in collaboration and so. So it's the project summary which is written. Whatever the teacher feels that the students are going to be working upon overall. And then what are the learning goals? So here the learning goals, which means whatever are your learning outcomes, are written over here. So you can just think about what different learning outcomes will be achieved once the children are going through this project. And then what is the key vocabulary? What are those important words which the children are going to learn while they're doing this project? What are the major products which will be coming out individually as well as a whole class product? Okay, and how will you make it public? What is it? What is that public event that you're going to do? What are the considerations? What will you consider about your students? What will you consider about the context? And what will you consider about the content and the skills? Right? And this one is far more in detail. That it has the project milestones also. What's the first milestone? What's the second milestone? This one is the most detailed project, in fact, which I could found. And so it is distributed in terms of milestones as well. So likewise, you will find that there are so many different project details which are given. Now you don't have to definitely go according to what they have done, but you will get a lot of ideas from them. This is not all. I'll tell you from where did I take the videos. Okay, so as you go scroll further down, you will find here project resources. Okay, so when you click on this, there are 126 results of this. There are articles and their planning tools, and I'll tell you what are those important things which you should definitely look at. Along with that, there are project videos. Now let's see here. Just see articles, 6 articles, 38 project videos. I have taken project videos from here. Okay, and then there are other videos which are available which is related to the project's planning. Okay, then planning tools are given, formats are given, rubrics are given, strategy guides are given, and student handouts are given. Okay. Now I'll just take you through the strategy guides. So here you have to see preparing and conducting interviews. How would you help out your children to plan and conduct interviews? In case if you want, there is a PDF which is there. Just download the PDF, read the PDF, and you will be able to guide your students towards it. Let's go back. Likewise, there is PDF for all. How will you make your children reflect? Okay, so what format would you need? What questions will you ask? Creating and using norms to build effective culture. Post-project reflection and feedback from students. Again, how would you do it? Working with outside experts. Audience feedback form. Once you are presenting it to the public. What are the critique protocols? While the critiquing is going on, what protocols needs to be followed? So that's also given over here. How would you use rubrics? Okay. How will you manage your work time? How will you use exit tickets? Exit tickets, I think by now everybody knows. So what is the guideline for using exit tickets? Learning log. So all of this, it is so beautifully designed website. It has so much of content and in fact there is a huge work which has been going, I think all over the world. This is one organization which has worked really hard on PBL, and they have got huge resources over here. So you can, whatever you want, you can just go through all of these, download all of these PDFs and keep it with you, and then keep on referring as and when you want it. Okay. So this is another thing which you should definitely see, and then we come on to rubrics. So here we have the rubrics. How to use PBL Works rubrics for success skills. When they're writing about the word success skills, they actually are saying that 21st century skills, and they call the 21st century skills as success skills. So how should we use rubrics to assess the skills in the students? Then presentation rubric, critical thinking rubric, creativity and innovation rubric, all of these things are available over here. So already made rubrics which you can teamwork rubrics see. So you really don't have to work so hard. You have got everything ready made out there. You have to use it, customize it according to your students, their level of skills and things, and then start using it right away. Okay, but use it. That's important. Okay, so this is the website which you should explore if you are very serious in introducing PBL in your school. So how do you differentiate in a PBL classroom? Depends again upon your project. How do you want to put the grouping? Most of the time, make a mixed ability group. But sometimes, suppose you're doing a language project, and in a language project, you're doing some kind of a reading thing. So then you have learners who are at different levels of reading. Some of them are advanced readers, some of them are at the middle level. So then make the ability grouping. Put all the advanced together, put the middle ones together, and the ones who struggle in reading or not too interested, put them together. And so you can differentiate on the task. You are making ability groups. But in other cases where you feel that different talents have to come together, then you can make a homogeneous group, a mixed ability group. So this is one way that you can differentiate. The second way that you can differentiate is that you can let the children work on the basis of their choice and interest. Okay. So if suppose you've given a project and I would like to come up with a video because I love to create video, or I want to come out with a skit based on that, or I would like to create some comical strips. So it depends upon how do I want to present my work. And these are some of the examples. So if you can give them choices based upon their interest. Then support. So there could be some children who need some support. So your additional resources. So that's what I said. You should be ready with your resources. So as and when the students need some kind of a resource, you are able to give them those resources and support them with that. And also you can differentiate based on the formative assessments. You can have different kind of formative assessments for different students, right? Also try to have a balance of the teamwork and individual work. This is important while you are doing project-based learning, because children are supposed to be doing certain things individually and certain things in group. Both the things are required. So that's an integral part of while you're planning your PBL. And also putting reflections in your project at the very critical points, which means that the children are reflecting on at every stage. Where have I reached? What have I done till now? What are more the things which have to be done? Am I proceeding in the right direction? So these are reflections, individual reflections, group reflections. So let them reflect upon their progress in the project. This is very important. So don't miss out on this reflection part, right? So because when the reflections will be going on, some children who are struggling, some who need some kind of a help, the help will be given there itself, because they're reflecting and they're able to identify where the problem lies, right? So therefore, these are some of the things which you need to take care while you are doing your PBL, and when you differentiate and you will do this, integrate these kind of instructions, you will find all your learners, kind of feeling comfortable and easy to move ahead, and they'll be motivated as well. Now, next comes, how is it that you can integrate it in your digital portfolios? Okay, if you have already seen the video which I have sent you, you would know that in the Google itself, you would be able to create your portfolio. In the portfolios, you can create certain pages. So now, how is it that the students can create their portfolio or integrate their project work in the portfolios? Two ways. One is they can integrate it in your own subject. So suppose if it's a physics related project or a science related project, within science page, they can put that as a project, or they can create a separate tab, the main tab, as project. Okay. So when they're creating a main tab as a project, so then they have a complete page to them, so they can introduce the idea of the project. How did they go about working? In fact, when you go to the website of PBL Works, there are formats which are provided to you, that how should the children be writing their pre-project summary, how should they be writing the post-project summary. There are formats and there are guidelines which are given for that. Right. So what you can ask your children to do is that once they have finished their project, once everything is done, then let them put the project pieces together. And you know that in the digital portfolio, in every page, they have got the provision of attaching the images, attaching the videos, attaching anything in the Google Drive which they have. They can share that link and it will come up over there. They can upload any of the images, as I said, any Word document which is there with them. So all of that work, any video which they have created, all of that work will be displayed on that particular page. They can also put up your comments over there. They can also put up their reflections over there. They can put up post-project summary there. They can also put up the feedback which has been given by the live audience to whom they presented their solution or the product, right? So all of those things can be put up in the project which the children are doing. And let me tell you one thing. Please be very serious about creating these digital portfolios for your students, because these portfolios will be helping them further in their college admissions as well. They can always show these portfolios to that we worked upon this, we worked upon this. As it is, they're going to be honing their skills and they'll become much, much better at what they're doing in their skills. But this is a live testimony of that they have been involved into active learning, into problem solving, and further, this is going to really help them. So let them have their portfolios created digitally, so that they don't have to really bother about. I don't think hard copy portfolios are really required. So you should always go in for creating digital portfolios. You as a teacher can put in your remarks on their digital portfolios. That's also possible. So all of this is possible while you are making your children work on digital portfolio. They can integrate that as well. Okay. Now, some of the project ideas, as I said that towards the end, I'll tell you some of the questions. Like for KG students, the question could be that how can we make all members of our family sit together for an hour without the use of any gadgets? Okay. Now that's one of the challenging question for them, And this is the one which I have worked out in detail, and I'll share it with you. Okay. Questions for 1 to 2 could be that how can we ensure our school students' dental health? So you are expanding it and you are making it for the entire school, and they have to work towards the dental health, right? So how do we make it? For 3rd to 5, it could be how can we reduce discrimination in our society? There's a huge amount of work which can be done in with this question. For class 6 to 8, it could be how can India's rich and varied culture be presented to the world, which also results in increased revenue for the country. Okay, so again, you can integrate a lot of subjects here. 9th, 10th, it could be how to prepare for new age careers. All right. Then for languages, we can have how can we make our community safe from natural hazards? Or how can love for language be increased in youth? What does it take to be a novelist? And these questions, and these are some small questions, but when you start exploring, it will just become endless, and there are so many things which can be worked into it. For mathematics, it could be, how do I know if a given PC is a good purchase? How can we generate funding for class welfare activities, and what is the financial plan for it? What are the similarities and differences in the structures of various monuments? Okay. Some more questions for social science, like how good are advertisements for economy? Or you can maybe change the question a little more and make it bigger. The scope could be more. How can Indo-China LAC issue be resolved? So that's another big thing, which can include history, it can include geography, it can include economics, and languages, of course, and so many other things can be there in this. Then India gets flooded during monsoons. What can we do to improve the situation? Computers, it could be how can we create an app which facilitates resource management of home? Whatever resources are needed in the home on an everyday basis, every month, what kind of a app, how can we create an app so that it becomes easy for us to manage the resources? Okay. For science, it could be how to create a good kitchen garden in an area of 20 feet by 10 feet. Again, you think about what all different research is needed, what questions are there, how, and so much of science is included into this. Mathematics as well. Biological warfare, how dangerous, how can this be eliminated? Okay, so we are now talking about not nuclear warfare, we are talking about biological warfare, right? So that's again very relevant question, very, very relevant. And these days, you can see it is related. I have not touched corona because I know corona is something, another thing which a good project can be worked upon. Okay, now. Let's, I'll just tell you about KG thing that how can we make all members, and these are kindergarten students, remember, they are not able to read on their own, they are not able to write on their own. So considering this is the context of our students, right? Considering this, how do we still get them into PBL? Okay. So question here is, how can we make all members of our family sit together for an hour without the use of any gadgets? So the entry event could be, you use a picture of a house where all members are sitting together, but each one of them is busy with their device. Everybody, so ऐसे बहुत सारे pictures मिल जाएंगे, so you can just put those pictures out there, or you can create a video on that and then let the students watch it, and once they have watched it, then let them come up with what they have seen, what they have observed, and so they start a conversation around that. Now once they have done it, the second thing is about what? Need to knows. What are those things which I need to know so that I can come to the solution to this problem? Okay, so let them work on how each member is spending their day. So the questions will be, first we should know that how is each member of our family spending the day, morning and afternoon and evening and night, what are the things which each member is doing. So that is what each child is, and it's all verbal. So they're going to be talking to their family members, seeing as to what and how they are spending their time, right? And then for this, they can always go in for some kind of an audio recording. to note down the sequence of the work which each family member is doing. Again, this is just raw thoughts which I am giving you, and I'm sure that there's much more which can be done in this. And then interview each member to find out what time can he or she take out where there is no digital device being used. Okay, so that's another thing. So let's interview and find out when is it possible. Then they have to discuss how there are children who are there in the groups. In case of KG, of course, you will expect some part of help from the parents, right? So you can group 3 to 4 children together, wherein there is one parent or somebody who takes the initiative and lead to put these children together online, and where they are discussing. So they will discuss with the group members as to what could be the various tasks which the family members can do together. So now that they are sitting together, they also have to think ki karenge kya, right? Without the device, what are those things which they can do? So let them enlist as to, okay, together, what is that which will entertain everybody and that will be enriching for everyone? So what are those things which can be done? So let them list down those. Then they can, this list can be made with the help of a sibling or a parent. And then they have to sit down with their family and discuss, bringing them to agreement on the time and task. Okay, what time is to be, they have to sit together, and what tasks are we supposed to be doing. They can also say that, okay, Monday this, Tuesday this, Wednesday this, like that also it is possible. Now what they also have to work upon is how to create interesting reminders for the family members. Okay, you need to remind the family members, okay, now this time is there and this is how. So you have to think about creative ways how to remind them about that. Also let them work upon the calendar to see whether how much is it being followed. आज follow हुआ, कल नहीं follow हुआ, परसों follow हुआ, इस member ने follow नहीं किया. So let them keep a maybe just give them provide a small calendar and let them put a tick, and different codes could be there: partially followed, fully followed, not followed. So that way let them manage the data with them. And then after 15 days, they are interviewing the family members, and they're doing some kind of a video recording that how are they feeling after 15 days of this recreational time with the family without any digital device, right? And then where is it to be presented? Now these videos that the children have created, where will it be presented? It can be presented on the school's Facebook page. It could be also on the website, or it could be presented on the live PTM. It depends upon, you have to see where you will get the audience for this, and audience definitely have to be parents over here. Or you can put it up on some of the parent forums where only parents are there, and that will be something which will catch their attention that, okay, this is some time. So what I'm trying to tell you over here is that this is how you can work about it. This is a small structure. Then what are the various skills? The skills are interviewing skills, doing the audio and video recording. Let the children do it. They are digital natives. They will be able to handle this. Okay, so let them do it. Let the parents tell them. Parents should help them out, but they should let the children do it. Then another skill is seeking help from siblings and parents, asking for help. Discussions in groups for solutions. So communication is there, critical thinking is there. Maintaining a calendar, so your data keeping. Presentation skills, there will definitely be some kind of a new vocabulary that they will be adding to themselves. So there's vocabulary enhancement. What are the learning outcomes? Students will be able to learn the value of time which is spent together fruitfully with family members, critically analyze the problem. And so these are some of the learning objectives. Creatively think of the solutions, manage and analyze data, able to frame their questions for the interview, learn to do audio and video recording. Children will learn about following new vocabulary words,
and they will also reflect on their journey during the project. So this is one of the KG project in detail. So friends, you must have got some idea about what project-based learning is. And in fact, if you go through that website, you will get huge amount of resources from which you can start initiating project-based learning for your students. I'm sure that in this journey, there will be a lot of questions which will be coming to you. I will await your questions. Please put it in the comment box and feel assured that I'm going to reply to all your questions. Thank you so much for watching it. And if you have liked it, don't forget to share it with your fellow educators. And also don't forget to share, like, and subscribe this channel. Thank you so much.